Elon Musk has had a long and famous collaboration with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. The agency has been behind some of the most striking developments in the field of space research, and in their collaborations with the entrepreneur, the people at NASA are making new discoveries that could change our understanding of space and the creation of the solar system as we know it. This latest discovery has been years in the making. As it stands now, Voyager 2 has been floating through the vastness of space for decades, and it was the pioneering spacecraft that shed light on one of the biggest mysteries in the solar system. Once the spacecraft reached planet Neptune in 1989, 12 years after it took off from Earth, what it discovered on the distant planet was mind-blowing. The spacecraft showed winds like nothing that was ever observed before in the solar system. The dark spot of Neptune, as it was called, was a storm that was spotted in the southern hemisphere, appearing as counterclockwise, wind up to 1,500 miles per hour or 2,414 kilometers per hour. It was the strongest ever recorded wind speed, and astronomers called the anomaly the Great Dark Spot. But when 5 years later, Hubble went online, no trace of the storm could be found. This disappearance is accompanied by the fact that Neptune is actually warmer than the planets preceding it, defying conventional wisdom that planets get colder as we move away from the sun. Is home to many mysteries in the solar system. But how do you study a planet that lies almost at the outer edges of our vast solar system? This is where the Planet CONEX probe comes in. CONEX proposed a space probe that will have the capability to conduct deep research into Neptune's atmosphere. Called the Acernum, the probe will have numerous components, including an orbiter to study Neptune, alongside a lander to study Triton, and a penetrator to strike Triton's surface, and perform a seismic experiment to understand its geology and its structure. However, the problem with a probe such as this scale is that there is no existing rocket that could currently launch such a craft as CONEX Archeum. With most problems, scientists try to work around the restrictions, like with the recent James Webb Telescope, which had to be sent into space folded and then unfurled into outer space. With a program of this scale and complexity, a single mistake in executing the maneuver would mean the loss of billions of dollars worth of equipment. So how do you work around these restrictions? This is where Elon Musk comes in. A lot has been said about Musk's flagship spacecraft called the Starship. Promising to revolutionize space travel as we know it, this gigantic spacecraft is designed to facilitate human space travel. What impresses scientists is the fact that the rocket could also revolutionize what we know about our neighboring planets and moon. The Starship is being built at Texas site's dubbed Starbase, consisting of a giant spaceship on the top of its large booster known as Super Heavy. Both of these can return to Earth to be reused, reducing costs significantly. SpaceX estimates that flights could be conducted for as low as $2 million per trip, and this was a drastic reduction compared to what was standard previously. This reduction in cost means that more money can be allocated to the actual development of probes and equipment instead of focusing on the transport. Adding to that is the spacecraft's capability of lifting 100 metric tons, or 220,000 pounds of cargo, and people into space on regular low-cost missions. The volume of usable space within the Starship is a massive 1,000 cubic meters. With such space, you can fit an entire drilling rig onto the spaceship, and it could be transported to Neptune using the Starship and used to drill down a kilometer as possible on Earth today. This will afford scientists unprecedented access to the interior of the planet. Musk has hinted that they could conduct Starship test flights in 2022, and that has scientists excited about the possibilities. Vonex has already mentioned their interest in using the Starship to transport Archeum to Neptune. Unlike other super heavy rockets like NASA's much delayed Space Launch System and Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket, Starship has two distinct units with the ability to be refueled in Earth's orbit by other starships, so more of its lifting capability can be handed over to scientific equipment rather than the fuel. What this means is that instead of worrying about fuel weight, the payload can be increased, and the ship refueled in orbit using other starships. What this means for the mission to Neptune is that instead of focusing on the transport aspect of space travel, NASA can focus on creating a robust probe that is designed to handle the extremes of the atmosphere on the outer edges of the solar system. The logistics of equipment storage and transport have been solved by the innovative approach taken by Musk's company already. If speculation is to be believed, we might see the spacecraft in operation as early as this year. The new technology does hold a lot of promise, but its true worth will only become apparent once it's operational. Suffice to say that, for now, we are looking with hope at Elon and NASA. Here's to hoping that the venture leads to a better understanding of our place in the universe. Click one of the 4 videos on screen right now.